The galaxy teetered on the brink of annihilation. The Zorathian race, a species known for their unparalleled intellect and technological sophistication, faced an enemy they could not defeat. The Kraylan swarm, an ever-expanding hive mind consuming everything in its path, had breached the outer defenses of the Zorathian homeworld. Their ships were vast, organic monstrosities immune to conventional weapons, their soldiers relentless, and their strategies incomprehensible. For the first time in their long history, the Zorathians were powerless. The High Council convened in a towering spire of crystal and light, their faces drawn with fear. Centuries of peace had made them complacent. Though their knowledge was vast, they lacked the instincts for survival in the face of utter destruction. Their advanced simulations and probability matrices returned the same grim verdict. Extinction was inevitable. A deep silence fell over the chamber as High Scholar Erythian addressed the council. His voice trembled as he suggested what many considered unthinkable. "We must call upon the humans." The words sent a ripple of unease through the gathered counselors. Humans. The very mention of the species evoked mixed emotions. They were newcomers to the galactic stage, unpredictable and brash. Their technology was primitive by Zorathian standards, yet their history was a testament to their resilience. They had survived countless wars, disasters, and crises, often of their own making, and emerged stronger every time. "This is madness," objected Counselor Vrennick. "Humans are volatile and reckless. We cannot entrust our survival to them." Erythian countered with uncharacteristic fervor. "It is precisely their recklessness that we need. We have tried logic, precision, and strategy, and all have failed. The Kraylan are a force beyond reason. Only humans with their chaos and ingenuity have a chance of confronting them." The debate raged on, but time was a luxury they could no longer afford. The Kraylan swarm grew closer with each passing moment, their vast shadow blotting out stars. At last, the council voted. By a narrow margin, the decision was made. An emissary would be sent to Earth to plead for humanity's help. The Zorathian envoy arrived on Earth under cover of night, descending upon a vast human city that pulsed with light and life. The emissary, a tall and ethereal figure, stepped into a world of noise and chaos unlike anything they had ever known. Despite their apprehension, they marveled at humanity's vibrant energy. The emissary was brought before a gathering of human leaders and experts. The room was stark, functional, and filled with an air of urgency. The emissary explained the situation, their melodic voice cutting through the tension. As they spoke, a map of the galaxy appeared, detailing the relentless advance of the Kraylan swarm. The humans listened intently, their expressions a mix of curiosity and determination. When the emissary finished, there was silence. Then a tall figure, a general with a weathered face, spoke. "You're saying your people can't stop them?" "We have exhausted every option," the emissary admitted. "We lack the instincts for warfare. We have limitations." The general exchanged a glance with a scientist seated nearby, her face illuminated by the glow of her tablet. "And you think we can?" The emissary hesitated. "Your species has a reputation. You are unique, unpredictable, capable of achieving the impossible under pressure. We believe you are our last hope." A murmur rippled through the room. Some scoffed at the flattery, but others leaned forward, intrigued. The scientist finally spoke, her voice sharp and clear. "What's the catch? If these Kraylan are as unstoppable as you say, why haven't they wiped us out already?" "They have not yet reached your sector," the emissary replied. "But they will. Your survival is as much at stake as ours." The room fell silent again. The general leaned back in his chair, a faint smirk on his face. "So, you're asking us to save the galaxy?" "Not just the galaxy," the emissary corrected. "Yourselves." The humans deliberated briefly. There was little doubt about their answer. The prospect of facing an unstoppable enemy did not deter them. It ignited something primal within them. The general stood, his voice resolute. "We'll help, but we do things our way. No committees, no simulations. We'll figure it out as we go." The emissary blinked, taken aback by the abruptness of the decision. "You agrees?" "We don't back down from a fight," the general replied. "Especially not one like this." The humans began preparations immediately. The emissary watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation as they moved with purpose, their confidence bordering on arrogance. For the Zorathians, this was uncharted territory. For humans, it was just another challenge. The preparations began in earnest, and the first thing the humans demanded was total freedom to operate without interference. They studied the Kralin swarm with an intensity that unnerved the Zorathian observers. Data streams, intercepted transmissions, and every detail provided by the Zorathians were analyzed, but it was humanity's ability to think beyond the numbers that truly stood out. Instead of fear, the humans seemed almost energized by the challenge. They laughed, argued, and scribbled ideas on whiteboards and digital screens. It was messy, chaotic, and nothing like the precision the Zorathians were accustomed to, but somehow it worked. Every failure was treated not as a setback, but as a stepping stone. The Kralin swarm operated on unity, a hive mind functioning as one flawless machine. Humans, on the other hand, thrived on discord. Their ideas clashed, diverged, and reformed into solutions no single mind could have conceived. One team proposed a diversion, using holographic projections to mimic the signature of an enormous fleet. Another worked on a weaponized EMP, capable of disrupting the swarm's neural link. The emissary, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke up. "These plans, they are untested. If they fail, the consequences—" "They're supposed to be untested," a scientist interrupted. "If we stick to what's been done before, we'll lose. The swarm isn't expecting us to try the ridiculous. That's why it'll work." The Zorathians couldn't understand this confidence. To them, each untested variable was a risk too great to take. To humans, it was an opportunity to surprise their enemy. When the first EMP prototype was tested, it failed spectacularly. The resulting explosion damaged half the lab. The emissary was horrified, but the humans laughed it off. "Back to the drawing board," the lead engineer said, already jotting down notes for improvements. In another corner of the preparation zone, a group of strategists worked on psychological warfare. They theorized that, despite their unified mind, the Kralin might still experience hesitation if confronted with something they couldn't immediately understand. "We don't need to destroy them outright," a tactician explained to the emissary. "We just need to confuse them long enough to find their weak points." They crafted elaborate plans, involving fake signals, misleading transmissions, and even planting false intelligence that suggested humanity had a secret weapon capable of obliterating entire fleets. "It's not about what we have," the tactician continued. "It's about what they think we have." The emissary was skeptical, but said nothing. The Zorathians had no alternatives, and despite their doubts, there was a strange allure to humanity's audacity. As the humans worked, their camaraderie was impossible to ignore. They joked, teased, and encouraged one another even in the face of failure. Their resilience was infectious. The emissary began to understand that humanity's strength wasn't just in their technology or their strategies, it was in their unyielding spirit. When the final plan was unveiled, it was a patchwork of unconventional ideas. A fleet of human ships would draw the swarm's attention while a secondary team deployed the improved EMP. At the same time, holographic decoys and false signals would misdirect the enemy's forces. The goal wasn't outright victory but disruption, a chance to exploit the swarm's vulnerabilities. The emissary voiced their concern one last time. "What if this doesn't work?" The general smiled. "Then we'll try something else. That's the thing about humans. You'll never run out of surprises." The Kralin swarm arrived in full force, their massive ships blotting out stars and their unrelenting advance spreading panic among even the most stalwart allies. The human fleet, smaller and seemingly outmatched, moved forward with purpose. Each ship glimmered with adaptive technology hastily developed during their feverish preparations. To the untrained eye, it appeared chaotic, but beneath the surface, every movement was deliberate. The first phase of the plan began as the human fleet launched decoys that emitted a cacophony of signals, mimicking an armada far larger than the one present. The Kralin hesitated, their flawless coordination briefly disrupted as their hive mind worked to analyze the sudden influx of conflicting data. It was a small crack, but it was all humanity needed to proceed. A group of smaller ships broke off, slipping through the chaos to deploy the EMP devices. The swarm reacted, sending a cluster of vessels to intercept them. It was a predictable move, one the humans had anticipated. With a precision honed by their endless capacity to adapt, the decoy ships scattered, each equipped with holographic projections that made them appear far more threatening than they were. The Kralin adjusted again, their hive mind analyzing and recalibrating, but this constant need to react slowed their momentum. It was a vulnerability the humans exploited mercilessly. A second wave of human ships appeared from behind a nearby moon, their weapons targeting the Kralin's flank. It wasn't a decisive blow, but it disrupted their formation, forcing them to divert resources and attention. The EMP deployment team reached their target zone, a cluster of Kralin ships believed to house key nodes of their neural network. The devices were activated, and a surge of electromagnetic energy rippled through the void. The effect was immediate. Several Kralin vessels faltered, their movements erratic as the hive mind momentarily lost control. The humans didn't waste the opportunity. A strike team moved in, their ships equipped with experimental weaponry designed to exploit the weakened state of the swarm. The Zorathian emissary, observing from a safe distance, could hardly believe what they were witnessing. The humans had managed to do what no other species had even dared to attempt. They had disrupted the unity of the Kralin. But the victory was far from complete. The swarm adapted quickly, regaining cohesion and launching a counterattack. The human fleet found itself under heavy fire, their ships maneuvering desperately to avoid destruction. Losses mounted, but the humans pressed on, their resolve unshaken. In the midst of the chaos, a single human ship broke away from the fleet, its trajectory taking it directly into the heart of the Kralin forces. It was a calculated risk, a gamble that epitomized humanity's willingness to sacrifice everything for a chance at survival. The ship carried a payload designed to destabilize the Kralin's core systems. Its crew knew the mission was likely a one-way trip, but they went without hesitation. The payload was delivered, and the resulting explosion sent shockwaves through the Kralin fleet. For the first time, the swarm showed signs of genuine disarray. Their ships faltered, their movements erratic and uncoordinated. The humans seized the moment, launching a final assault that pushed the Kralin back, forcing them to retreat. As the dust settled, the Zorathian emissary could only watch in stunned silence. Humanity had done the impossible. They hadn't just fought the Kralin. They had outthought and outmaneuvered them, turning their own strength into a weakness. It was a victory born of chaos, ingenuity, and sacrifice, a testament to everything the humans had promised they would deliver. The aftermath of the battle left the battlefield eerily quiet, the wreckage of destroyed ships floating aimlessly in the void. Humanity's fleet, battered but triumphant, began the slow process of regrouping. Communication channels buzzed with reports of casualties and damage assessments, but amidst the grim statistics, one undeniable fact emerged. They had won. The Kralin swarm, a force believed to be unstoppable, had been repelled. For the Zorathians, the sight was surreal. The humans had defied logic and succeeded where countless others had failed. The emissary, still processing the enormity of what had transpired, stood among the human commanders as they exchanged grim nods of acknowledgement. There was no cheering, no celebration, just a quiet understanding of the cost of their victory. The Zorathians offered their gratitude, but it felt hollow compared to the sacrifices the humans had made. The emissary approached the general, whose once steely demeanor now carried the weight of the lives lost under his command. "Your people," the emissary began, searching for the right words. "You have done what we could not. You saved us all." The general's expression remained stoic. "We did what had to be done. But don't mistake survival for victory. The swarm isn't gone. They'll adapt, and they'll be back. Next time, it might take more than guts and chaos to stop them." The words carried a warning, one the Zorathians took to heart. They had witnessed humanity's capacity for resilience, but also their stark acknowledgement of reality. Survival was a battle that never truly ended. In the following days, a fragile alliance began to form between humanity and the Zorathians. The emissary, once skeptical of humanity's worth, now worked closely with their leaders to share knowledge and prepare for the inevitable return of the swarm. The humans, for their part, continued to surprise the Zorathians with their boundless creativity and refusal to rest on their laurels. But the cost of the battle weighed heavily on everyone. The names of the fallen were etched into human records, and the survivors carried the scars of their ordeal. For the crew of the ship that had delivered the decisive blow, their sacrifice became a rallying cry, a symbol of what humanity could achieve when pushed to the brink. As time passed, the lessons of the battle spread throughout the galaxy. Other species, inspired by humanity's defiance, began to re-examine their own strategies and prejudices. The humans, once viewed as reckless and primitive, were now seen as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a way forward. The Zorathian emissary returned to their council, their perspective forever changed. They spoke of humanity not as a last resort but as a vital ally, a species whose flaws were also their greatest strengths. They are not like us, the emissary told the council. They thrive on chaos, on the impossible. They may be unpredictable, but they are also unstoppable. The council listened, their initial skepticism tempered by the undeniable truth of the emissary's words. The Zorathians, once paralyzed by their own perfectionism, began to adopt some of humanity's methods, embracing the idea that failure was not the end but a stepping stone to success. And so, a new chapter began. Humanity, for all its flaws, had proven that strength was not always measured in technology or intellect, but in spirit and determination. They had shown the galaxy that even when all seemed lost, there was always hope. The Kralin swarm had retreated, but the war was far from over. Humanity knew this, and so did their allies. But for the first time in living memory, the galaxy had something it hadn't known in centuries, a fighting chance. The humans had lit the spark, and now it was up to everyone else to keep the flame alive.